Welcome to another Atera Spotlight on Partners session hosted by Atera and our special guests here from Keeper. My name is Muna. I head the product marketing team here at Atera, and I'm delighted to be hosting this compelling topic around security and password protection. Again, if you're joining us for the first time, I do want to invite you to visit the Atera events page on the website where you can stay up to date on all of the webinars, our security spotlight webinars with our partners. So our topic for today is around next generation privilege access management. And what we're going to discuss is the security adoption paradox that many companies face, and how very often password security measures that companies put in place may sometimes hinder the work of IT rather than simplifying it. We will also get a sneak peek into Keeper's PAM solution, where the team's going to show a short demo. And we will hear from Mike, who has been a longtime user of Keeper. But before we do that, we do have some housekeeping that I'd like to go through. So first of all, to all of you, this webinar is being recorded and it will be made available within the next 48 hours. It will go out a link via email. But as I said, you can also find all of our on-demand webinars on our website. I invite you to please post your questions throughout the session. Our team will be answering them at the end, but we do have with us Padre, who will be answering a lot of your technical questions. So please don't shy. Type in the questions in the Q&A box as the speakers are talking, and we will be addressing them here live. At the end of the webinar, we have a short survey. It will pop up right at the end. It's less than a minute, a couple of questions. Let us know how we're doing and how we can serve you better moving forward. So please do take the time and respond to the survey. Without further ado, let's get started because that's what you're here for. Gentlemen, welcome. I'm very delighted to welcome with us today Ryan Dummigan. Ryan is from Keeper. He's really the MSP account manager for Keeper Security out of EMEA. He's based in Cork, Ireland, and Ryan is very passionate about the sea and surfing. That's very interesting. And his personal mission is to ensure that every MSP is using Keeper. Hi, Ryan. Welcome.
Hi, Muna. How are you doing? Hi, everybody.
Wonderful. Very delighted to have you join us today.
Glad to be here.
Great. We also have with us Mike Bitka. Hello, Mike. Welcome.
Yeah, hello, Mona. Hello, groups.
Well, Mike has a really impressive resume. He's a computer scientist. He's a lawyer. He's a data protection officer, and he's an auditor. And with all of that, he's also the founder and managing director of My Privacy GmbH, a company in Germany. He specializes in international data protection and SAP consulting. In Mike's previous life, he was the head of a group around data protection for a Danish group and the largest German energy group. And he's also a development partner of the Drum.Dot solution using Keeper password management. So he's really here to share with all of us his experience. Mike has really worked with customers across all industries, from ERP, the energy, chemical, banking, automotive, you name it. Mike, that's very impressive. Very delighted to have you with us today.
Yes, sorry.
So before I hand over to Ryan, I just want to do a quick recap of our partner spotlights. For those of you familiar with Atera, we have within the Atera platform the App Center, which is really the marketplace of integrated and diverse IT solutions. And today we're welcoming Keeper into the platform as part of our integrated solutions. Within the App Center, we really have a broad partner ecosystem. And the key benefits in that is obviously having the solution accessible to Atera customers, where you can provision, sync your customers, have easy access to the tool. We have our joint deployment team here to help you onboard, and of course, all of the centralized billing through Atera. So for those Atera customers, Keeper will be available within the App Center, I believe, later this week. So please stay tuned, look out for it. We invite you to come in, give it a trial, and after you hear Ryan's amazing presentation, I'm sure you'll be hooked and start using Keeper. So thank you for that. And without further ado, Ryan, the stage is yours. Tell us about privileged access management.
Okay, hi everybody. Okay, so I'm just going to take you through a brief summary of Keeper, the security adoption paradox, and what we do. So if I could just so basically, when it comes to passwords, about 11 hours are wasted each year resetting passwords per person. About 50% of all help desk calls are password related, and $70 is the average cost of a business to reset one password. God knows I know this because I am that ultimate use case. As a salesperson, passwords and changing them and all this have been the bane of my life. You could see it on a sales floor. A collective sigh every time passwords have to be changed, this every 30 days, every 45 days sort of thing. And we, at Keeper, we try to eliminate all this and make everything simple for our end users. Obviously, SSO is fantastic, but it doesn't cover everything. Hundreds of thousands of cloud and native applications do not support SSO. A lot of people think SSO is some sort of silver bullet. Unfortunately, it isn't. It's great, but it isn't completely comprehensive. Now, let's move on to the next slide there. Sorry, I'm just getting used to the format here. The importance and limits of multi-factor authentication. Okay, so multi-factor authentication, as most people know here, is a must, but it can be very painful for end users. By providing an extra barrier and layer of security, it makes it incredibly difficult for attackers to get past MFA. MFA can block over 99.9% of compromised attacks. However, a password plus a one-time code authentication can be cumbersome for employees to set up and use. With that in mind, you have the strict password policies that often creates more help desk tickets to reset passwords as employees struggle to remember complex rotating passwords. Legacy SSO solutions are complex to set up and often end up not fully deployed. Only 28% of Microsoft users have MFA, as users don't like extra security steps. So with all these things in mind, the complexity and strength of password policies implemented by organizations can influence the frequency of password reset requests. Stricter password requirements result in more frequent resets as users struggle to remember complex passwords. Connecting users through legacy solutions can be difficult, as I mentioned already. People don't like going through extra security steps, and that's a key factor in a lot of the password management solutions. Okay. So I think Mike is going to jump in now and describe how he's come to Keeper and how he's found Keeper. And is that correct?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ryan. And thank you for the introduction, Muna. As you can imagine, as data protection and SAP consultancy, we are having extensive access to customer information, and some of it is highly sensible. So for us, a highly secure central storage of sensitive information and simple, effective access control are important for my company and my customers. We wanted to avoid having important information in some directories or email accounts that you don't know about or don't have access to. So in our search, we found Keeper, which offers us exactly these possibilities. In this way, we can authorize our employees and our consultants only for the information that is decisive for their tasks. So we sometimes do this for our customers, and as an additional point, our employees can also create their own private folders for their information without anybody else having access to it. So we are mainly use Keeper in the following three cases. First, for our important data like contracts, certificates, keys, software licenses, or bank details. And Keeper offers several predefined data types for this, so we can define our own ones if necessary. So secondly, as part of our consulting activities for securing the access data to the customer systems. This affects access to Citrix, including two-factor tokens, SAP, Azure, Oracle, and so on. So the tool in the taskbar, I have to say, helps me a lot here because I only need to know 3 key combinations or use autofill, so I don't need a long search. What is the password? Where is the system? Where is it stored? So where is the information how to log on to the customer side? And thirdly, and that's something special we are talking about here, as part of the development of the Marvelous Run. So we are developing, I call it IAAM system, which is a better way of using IAM as identity and access management systems for our partner company here, Marvelous Run. So our system has the aim to administer or implement new functionalities or analyze and optimize authorizations using AI. So an aim is to avoid SOD conflicts or data privacy incidents by using task-related authorizations. And so it's crucial that no one can use our interface for destructive activities. Therefore, our cloud-based software solution temporarily stores highly secure certificates and keys for communication between our system and the customer system in Keeper using API for Keeper. So that's something really special we are using here. So we are not using it for just contracts or login information. We are using it temporarily for the communication between highly sensible systems. Yeah. So overall, we can say that we are more than satisfied with the usability of Keeper, apart from the fact that Start Application and autofill no longer work for me in Safari with the latest version. So I hope that this will work again in the next update, but that's just a little wink. So we can manage our customers, we can manage our consultants, we can use it for private purpose and for some really special parts using API. And so I would like to hand it over back to Ryan. Okay. You're on mute.
Thanks, Mike. That's great. That's great. So, okay. So, just moving on. So, with the password manager, what we do is we fine tune access levels across the organization. Okay. So, it gives the administrators the power to fine tune the organization's access levels to critical data and credentials across individuals and teams. Okay. User friendly features help reduce IT help desk costs. An example of this is it's very, very easy to administer the product from a technical perspective, but the real payoff for all of this is the end user experience for the non-technically minded, your salesperson, your receptionist, your marketing person, the people who aren't invested in the tech itself. It's just so easy to use. Just an example of this is when people leave companies, they generally take their personal license with them and then they end up purchasing it. So we're obviously doing something right. We also integrate with all major SSO providers, so we can eliminate and close security gaps. Also, we can ensure use of two-factor authentication by enforcement policies. And then how does it work? Okay, so basically what happens is you would get an invite to set up a vault. Okay, you go in, you set up your vault. You can either import from a different password manager or import from a browser, or drag and drop a CSV file or folder. it's just so easy. You get to choose what color background you want and all these other little things. As the user, and then moving on.
Just let me know if you want me to share, Ryan. I know that you don't have it in here. I can share the screen.
Oh, good.
The minute we want
Okay.
it up, I can share.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay,
Perfect.
let's
I thought it was
do
up.
that.
Okay.
Just a second, and I will. Okay, let me know when it's come up.
Here we go. So here you can see our enforcement policies, enforcing our administrator enforcing two-factor authentication, our sharing and uploading, using logon settings, keeper fill. So that's your administrator can set up all these different types. You can even allow IP whitelisting, so you can block a whole range of IPs if you want people to work just from the office, or you want people to, we'll say, block a range of IPs from a country you don't want people logging in from. Okay. So there's role-based access controls, and you as the administrator can set the enforcement policies, and there can be the enforcement policies can be changed and set for each additional managed company as well, making it very easy to administer. Also, you can set up alerts on the moment, alerts where basically if somebody has, we'll say, disabled two-factor authentication, you can either get an SMS, an email, or a webhook directly in real time to show you that you need to take corrective action. Okay. This here is an example of our browser extension and how it auto-generates passwords and how we can share passwords as well. So as you can see from the example here, what you're doing is you're signing into your Keeper account, signing into Amazon, you're saving your password, it's creating the record inside your account as you're going. And the next time then you want to sign into Amazon, you can either launch directly from your vault itself. Okay. So we just move on then we have our SSO Connect. So a single sign-in is just showing how easy it is. You pick an account, set it up, stay signed in, and away you go. It's just showing just how simple. It's just a few clicks with everything, and you can basically drive provisioning of 1 to 1,000 people within a couple of minutes, sending out invites to people so they can create their vaults, and moving on from there, you can also keep your TOTP codes in the vault, so you can actually go into the vault and pull them out. An important thing to say here about this as well is, just like most password managers and most people will offer protection like they offer protection to a building, whereas they'll just the main doors and windows will be secure on the ground level, whereas a Keeper, every single room in the building, every single record, shall we say, is actually encrypted by its own 256-bit AES encryption key. So everything is also encrypted and decrypted on the client side, which means the level of security are absolutely phenomenal. So that's one thing you can just take for granted, is the level of security. Okay, so I think that's it. Has anyone got any questions? I mean, obviously the next step to this is a full scale demonstration, so we can show you how the product works in real life, discuss various different use cases and how it may look for you. So I'd like to hand it over to you guys if you have any questions. Obviously, this is just a quick sneak peek, and obviously we can go into much further detail, and you can ask some questions here in our Q&A, and we have engineers ready to go. Okay.
Thank you. Ryan, thank you so much for that. I know that this has been a really quick overview, so I do want to kind of step back a little bit, if you don't mind. We've gone to the assumption quickly that people are very familiar with the concept of privileged access management. Can you just give us a quick highlight of Keeper as a company? Just a little background of the company and the various offerings that you provide. Can you talk to that quickly?
Yeah, I can, of course. So primarily when I started, we were doing a password management solution. Okay. and the idea behind that was you would put all your credentials essentially in one place where they're guarded, and then you could launch everything, making your life easier instead of people having passwords put down on notes all over the place, or everything was consolidated in a safe and controllable environment. Just to give you an example, okay, so when I come to work in the morning, the first thing I do is I take out my phone, I log into my vault. The security code to enter the building, which is changed constantly, is shared with me. So I enter the security code, I go upstairs, I go to the office, there's another code I have to enter, and that's shared with me. Then I sit down on my desk, I log into the Keeper, and I launch my email, my LinkedIn, my Salesforce, my HubSpot, all my applications are in there. I don't even know the passwords to half of them. So it just makes my life really, really simple. And then of course, anything that needs to be shared for me, any documentation, say a SOC 2.2 certificate or an ISO 27001 certificate that we would only share with another company under NDA, I can get that shared to me, and then share it to somebody outside the organization securely. We have a connection manager as well, which is secure RDP access. So nothing. We also have which is making sure everything is connecting securely. It's basically going to be the data VPNs. We also have a secrets manager, which means you have absolutely no hard-coded credentials or secrets hanging around. So everything is going to be pulled directly from a vault. So it's encrypted, decrypted, and then pulled out from there. Based on my customers, which is growing, we're going through the percentage growth. I'm not allowed to discuss, but it's absolutely phenomenal. I generally tend to have two types of conversations with potential MSPs. One is if they've already installed the trial. It's merely, it goes down to a few technical questions, and then we're talking commercials because they just want to buy it because it's so easy to use and it's great for their customers. The second conversation is if they haven't installed it already, it's just getting them to install it and work from there. The product in the MSP space especially is just so far ahead of anything that's out there, and so secure. I mean, when we talk about certifications, we've every single certification that you could possibly want. I know there's people from all over. We have data centers in Canada, the US, EMEA, and Japan. So we've got a bit of something for everybody as well. And it was good having Mike on with us today as well, because obviously maybe some of you know this or don't know this, but Germany is the country who actually created data protection with the first laws on it in 1971. But I would encourage everyone to have a quick look at our product, see how it fits into the organization. Obviously, password managers are a hot topic at the moment. Also, we're a consumption-based model as well. We have a no minimum user requirement. So I mean, just have a look and see how you find it. I think, Muna, that's comprehensive enough for now.
Yes, I think that's great. And you did answer some of the questions that we're seeing here in the chat, like where are the servers located. I do have a question here. There's several questions around comparison with competitor solutions. I see that Padre's been answering some of these, and I don't want to go in depth by each partner. I do want to ask, for example, what steps are being taken, for example, to prevent a breach, such as the one that LastPass had. Is that something that you would like to address?
Yeah, can I take that one? I'll save Ryan from that particular one. Yeah, the way we actually do our things is very, very different than what LastPass actually have. When I give a demo, I talk about our security and how we're actually secured. We talk about zero knowledge, and zero knowledge actually means that only you are able to log into your own vault, as in your data is encrypted and decrypted on your device. It's not decrypted on the cloud. There's no application above there in order to do it. So it's only done on your device. Everybody has their own individual vault. Inside in that vault, you have a record, and that record then is protected by an AES 256-bit key. And so if you've got a 1,000 records or 1,000 passwords that you need to be protected, you're going to have 1,000 of these AES 256-bit keys. What happened with LastPass was that they didn't encrypt all the data inside in the record. So we do encrypt all the data inside the password. So it is a username, a password, a URL, any attachment, any notes. So all of that data is encrypted by the AES 256-bit key. If you were, according to statistics, if you were to try and decrypt or reverse engineer an AES 256-bit key, it could take you, let's say, 30 years to do that. Now you must do 30 years by the number of records you've actually got, multiplied by the number of users inside in your own in your organization, and that takes huge computing power, huge time, and by that stage the data is out of date anyway and useless. So it's much tighter and much better design as an architecture from the very start. If you like, I'll continue with the questions there, Ryan. It might be quicker than me typing them. Where our data centers are located, there is one in Europe, one in the US, one in Australia, Japan, and Canada. So you choose where you actually put your data, and that's actually very important for you as well, that your data is in the location that you actually want to. We don't have a data center in every country. That is almost impossible for us, and there isn't an AWS data center suitable in every single country anyway, so we wouldn't be able to put up an instance for everybody in every single country. So it is kind of go with the nearest country that you actually have, or the rules of your own country that you actually require to abide by. It's important to get it right at the start so that your data is in the correct location, because if you needed to move from the US to the EU data center, it is a delete and start all over, because we can't move your data at all, not to mind easily, you can't move your data at all. So you would take a backup to a CSV file, and then you would start all over then inside in the data center that you actually want to choose. Let's just say that's inside in Europe. We've also got a question here. We already have Keeper. Can we convert to an MSP version? My answer to that is yes. We'd actually need to take that on a case-by-case basis. I need to look and see if you've got an individual account, whether you're using an enterprise account, and can we actually move that over. If for whatever reason that you were a customer and you actually wanted an MSP to take you over, we'd have to look at that as well. So the answer is always yes, but we actually need to take it on a case-by-case basis and make sure that the data is protected on each one of those steps. Can we import from 1Password? Not directly from 1Password. Inside in the Vault, if you go to your Vault and go to your email address and go to settings, and then you can go import. There is steps from many, I can't say all, but many of the other vendors to export to a CSV file and then import into Keeper. So it's actually a two-step process, except in the case of LastPass, where we can, using the Keeper desktop app, connect directly into LastPass, and we were able to import them directly in from that vault or that database, so you can have it all done in one particular step. Why is Keeper better than 1Password? Now, while I saw that, I actually went to our web page. Now, if I go back a step, if you go to keepersecurity.com, there's a huge amount of information inside here. And in fact, there's no shortage of information from Keeper. It is immense. So if you can't find something, ask, as you have done so right now. So if we go down to the very bottom here, we go to 1Password, and we start above here. Going by the user ratings, we actually get a 4.9 star out of 3.4. And again, on Play Store, we get a better rating inside here. And for Chrome extensions, we get a better rating inside there. So let's get down to the actual features and functions of inside here. They're also zero knowledge. but they do it on a vault level. We do it on an individual record level, so that if they were to try and reverse engineer the 1Password vault, they would get everything in one go, as opposed to Keeper, where they would have to crack every single one of the records to get an individual piece of information. Sharing is easier, so you could actually read that. Market-leading security infrastructure and policies, you can actually read that. 1Password has not exhibited the same rigor in security practices. It obtained a SOC 2 type certification more than 4 years ago. Keeper has also obtained the SOC 2, and we also obtained the ISO 27001, whereas 1Password has not. 1Password is based out of Canada, and so is its support. So that means the support level is always going to be a couple of hours behind, unless, of course, they're going to work overnight. And as far as I know, so far that they don't have support outside of Canada.
Just one thing there,
yes,
as well. Just to jump in. I'm sure most of the people here who have used 1Password or contacted them are still waiting for them to set up them to set up an MSP package. They don't have one.
They don't have one. Okay, perfect.
That's probably a key one when we're talking about MSP. But look, I'm sure 1Password do some great things. They're just not doing them in the MSP space, you know.
Yeah. And
Ryan, I'd like to ask a question. I'm sorry to interrupt you here, Padre. I know that we're coming very close towards the end of the session, and I want to respect everybody's time. I do want to ask us a question very much related to the onboarding with Atera. So there's a question here about, the process of the onboarding and configuring Keeper for PAM in an organization. Can you explain a little bit about that? And really the process also within Atera. So it will be available in the App Center very soon, if not by the end of this week, next week. But customers will subscribe. What is the process from there for them?
Okay, so what essentially happens is they start off with a trial. I believe through Atera it'll be a 30-day trial. So basically what you do is you set up your account through Atera. You work through your evaluation. You see if the product's a good fit for you and your organization. Then you can start. You can actually, from day one, you can actually start onboarding managed companies. And it's just really simple. As you add users, the licenses are provisioned. You choose actually which flavor you want, which licenses you want, what sort of packages you want to go with, and you can turn them on and off as well, and move users in and out throughout your evaluation and after you go live. Then the process to go forward with Atera is just simply keep doing what you're doing, add your details, and you're live. It's a really simple process. Once you're happy with the evaluation, you just hit go, essentially, you know. It's seamless. I would actually encourage everyone just to evaluate, just to try it. I mean, it's really simple to set up. You've really got nothing to lose, you know. So just go for it. You can look online and read all the reviews. Our reviews are based over hundreds of thousands of user reviews, and that's a very key differentiator, as well as some of our competitors might only have a couple of thousand reviews. Or I look at it like if I'm booking a hotel room, and a place has got a 9.9 rating based on 6 reviews. Okay, it's going to be a bit iffy. But if it's got a 9.99 review over, maybe a couple of hundred different reviews, well, that's obviously a place that I'm going to choose. So just have a look at that.
Wonderful, and I absolutely second that. I do know we've got just under a minute. I want to ask a quick question to Mike. From his experience, are there any specific industries or sectors where you feel Keeper's PAM solution is particularly beneficial?
Yeah, at the moment we are working with many energy companies here in Europe. So, for example, Vattenfall, E.ON, Uniper, and so on, and they're having very high, security levels for passwords and so on, as you can imagine, with an atomic plant, for example. So they are very, very interested in this solution. Yeah.
Wonderful. And as you go forward to put such a solution to your customers, is there something specific that you prepare in order to be able to sell the solution to your end clients, or does it sell itself
No.
really with?
No, normally not. We are starting with a little group of the customer and say, okay, you have access now here to the system and you can start playing around a little bit with it. And if you feel confident with that, then we can go on with the next steps. So mainly the IT administrators having so many passwords, or FI, CFOs, and so on. They're having very sensible passwords, but we are talking to the CIOs and asking them, do you have a group of, let's say, 5 to 10 users who might be interested in that? And then we are starting, and then we see how it's going on. And if they feel good with that, then we go on distributing it to them.
And a final question on that around reporting or auditing. Is there a need? Is there a request? Does Keeper support auditing and reporting features?
Yeah, one of my favorite features in Keeper is generating a password, and then afterwards I can forget it because I have just a simple key combination to enter the password. And as you probably imagine, most of the passwords are summer 1, 2, 3 or something similar. And that's something which I can discover very easily with using Keeper. So if a user or if users are using too simple passwords, then I have a breach report, or I can just making a little audit saying, okay, these passwords are far too simple. Please generate a new one, or I will go in and generate a better one. And the users themselves don't have to remember what a password is. They just click on the key combination and then they have the password in there. So it's very easy for the users. Yeah. So usability is high end.
Amazing. This has been very informative, definitely from the number of questions that we have here, Ryan. I think that we really need to do a more in-depth session and give our customers more insights around Keeper and what it can offer. I will reiterate what Ryan said. I do invite you, if you're on the Atera platform, please go ahead, start a trial. It's nothing easier than really experiencing the product, than from really taking a look and trying it out for yourself. As Mike said, it's really, as an MSP, the persona you're going out for, speak to the CISO, speak to those that lead security, get through the door from there. Any final words, gentlemen, before I open up for the survey? Have people answer that before they drop off? Any final words you want to share?
There's a couple of questions there while we actually get to them. Can the company retrieve passwords from an employee that leaves the company? Yes, there's a feature there called transfer account, so we can move the vault over to someone else. Can we use? Is there a way to use YubiKeys? Yes, there is. You can use that as a secondary option. So you first need to set up your 2FA, and then you can use that as well as biometrics. So 2FA would need to be set up first, and then YubiKeys or biometrics would be the option to set up those. Passwordless is coming. We also integrate with passwordless providers already. You can see that in our documentation, but we're also hoping to implement a passwordless feature in the coming months. I'm not quite sure how that is. I haven't seen mock-ups of how that's actually going to run just yet, so I won't give any steps on how that's going to be, but there is passwordless on the way. And I think I've covered all the other questions previously and writing, so I hope that's of use.
The pricing will all be through Atera's platform as well. All commercials will go through Atera. That's our partnership. They've got some great people over there as well, as most people in the audience already know, because they're Atera customers already. But look, I just like to say thanks for everyone. Sorry if it's a bit jumpy at the start. This is my first time on one of these type of webinars on a different platform. So thanks for bearing with me and bearing with us as we took it through it. Obviously, we're all available for questions. You can direct all your things to Muna there and the team at Atera, but we can answer any questions. We have documentation out the wazoo. We have an MSP Academy. We have a partner portal. So there's online training courses on there. You can co-brand documentation. Whatever you need, we have it. The reason we're growing so quickly is because it's we just get in, we land, we expand, and we help you. I mean, at the end of the day, our biggest priority is to help you guys win more business and look after your end users, make sure everyone's secure and happy using a simple to use and secure product. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Mike, any final words on your end?
No, just thank you very much to the audience and for having such a good platform here, and to you, Mona, for administer all this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us today. And like we said, go out, try Keeper through the Atera platform. Nothing like the experience. Thank you so much for your time. Last minute, please don't forget to answer the survey. It's less than a minute.